Okay, what are you saying, people? And welcome back to another live stream. Now, before we get into this, make sure you join me on my Telegram channel. I left a link to that in the live chat and also the description below. So make sure you go check that out. But like I said, guys, got another live stream coming up. Sorry for yesterday due to some technical difficulties. Couldn't get the live stream up and running yesterday, so apologies for that. But yeah, live stream is back and running today, so hope you all had a great day and all doing quite well in the markets. But yeah, like usual, guys, if you want to take a look at any charts that you're looking at or you're currently in any trades, feel free to share or take a look at them, see how they're going. And yeah, we'll take a look at some of the charts today and give you some of the pairs that I'm looking at as well to trade this week. So first off, I'm going to start with AUD USD. So for this pair, again, looking for sells this week. We did collapse to the downside last week after that big drop we had. Again, fundamentals did have a big part in that. But also from a technical point of view, we were looking for shorts last week for AUD, and into this week looking for shorts again. We are pushing to the upside, but going to be treating that as retracement. So yeah, expecting more upside for AUD, but I can see price pushing back down. If I go on the daily chart quickly, you can see that after that big push that we had last week, we do have this area of support that I'm looking at as resistance now, which is around this area here, 0.75730, so around there, which are kind of just testing that area right now. So yeah, we'll be looking for this area for potential shorts here, and a push back down to 0.74. Again, guys, if you haven't checked out my weekly analysis, make sure you go do that. Have the breakdown of AUD, where I'm expecting continuation this week, and why I'm looking for shorts. But basically, we've had that big push. We're back below that support. It's now going to be acting as resistance. And we've definitely broken through structures, so this is a bearish market. So yeah, we'll be looking for shorts this week for AUD. As you can see, we are still bullish, so I'm not looking for shorts just yet. I do have my eye open for it though, so I'll probably want to see a bit more upside from AUD, and then see if we can see some reversals to take this back down, back to those previous lows, and then further back down to 0.74. Because if I do go on the daily and I zoom out, you can see that we do have prior resistance here, which is actually more weekly resistance, to be fair. Weekly resistance here around 0.74, and that's where I do see the market going over the next few days, maybe into next week as well. So if we go on the weekly, actually, you can see it's more weekly than daily. Weekly resistance here, this is kind of a previous major higher high, then we form this higher low, push through that, creating a higher high, higher low. So this is why I do see price pushing back into for AUD for next week. So those are the targets for AUD, back down to 0.74. But right now, like I said, in retracement mode, so not looking to short just yet. But again, a lot of these USD pairs, like Euro USD, AUD USD, GP USD, they're all retracing up, expecting it to fall to the downside again. So yeah, looking for shorts for those pairs this week. But I think GBP USD looks a little bit better, so I think I'll be focusing on that pair a little bit more than AUD USD. So GBP USD, we've had a bit more retracement, therefore you can expect a little bit more continuation to the downside. Again, if I go to the daily, we're approaching a really nice area where I'm looking to short GBP USD from. If I just extend this across, you can see really nice resistance here in the market. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a breakout, break back in, and now retesting that as resistance as well. So I do see GBP USD falling to the downside over the next few weeks or so, and we do have a target all the way down here around the 1.36 800 mark. And we had this double bottom before we saw price rally to the upside, and as you can see, that was short-lived. Price collapsed to the downside, very, very bearish. So yeah, more downside to come for GBP USD. The upside we're seeing now is probably just retracement. If it was a false breakout, we'll probably see a lot more strength in the GBP to the upside, but Right now you can see by the price action on the 4H, on the hourly, it's very corrective, so it's indicating to us that price is having a hard time pushing up. Therefore, we're going to treat that as a retrace, expecting to see more continuation to the downside. So looking for the looking for this sorry, hay fever's coming back, guys, so yeah, voice might sound a little bit croaky, my apologies. But yeah, looking for those shorts for AUSD and GPUSD as well. Euro USD, same thing there as well, but it hasn't retraced as much as GPUSD or AUSD, so in my opinion it's probably not the better pair to trade, just because you probably have less mileage on it, so the risk to reward might not be that good. But at the end of the day, I do still see Euro USD pushing to the downside. Again, I can see Euro USD pushing all the way back down to this support down here, which does have a lot of pips to the downside. So there is a lot of pips to the downside, but I just don't like how Euro USD is retracing. Prefer GPUSD and AUSD and look to trade those rather than Euro. But again, if GPUSD and AUSD are going to move down because we're seeing some US dollar strength, then highly likely as well we're going to see Euro as well. So pretty much the same setup, but slightly different pairs, and obviously the strength of the individual currencies will affect the success of those moves. But yeah, we'll be looking for those shorts for GPUSD and AUDUSD. Also, NZD-USD similar as well, another USD pair that did collapse to the downside. Take a look at that now. Another pair that did collapse to the downside last week. Again, we did have this support in the market here, which price was kind of clinging onto, and I think that was like the last area where if price was going to go up for NZD-USD, it would have held that area and kept going to the upside. However, as you can see, every time we had that push, we weren't really, well, we were creating higher highs, but we weren't really sustaining them for quite long. After the push, we came down very aggressively. So it was telling us that although we were making higher highs, price is having a hard time sustaining them. So potentially we could reverse, and then after this last push here, and then we failed to really kick on. If I go in the 4H, after this last push on the 4H over here, we failed to kick on, and then we came right back down. So that was kind of the indication that price wanted to move to the downside, and then we had that big collapse, again with the fundamentals helping out to the downside. But overall, NZD-USD again looking bearish. I'm expecting more downside. We've got this strong area of support, which price is having a bounce off, slight break of it, but price is essentially bouncing off that area, which was expected because you can see a big move there on the daily chart to the upside. Is likely going to give us some type of reaction. But again, similar to the other USD pairs, I do see NZD-USD falling to the downside again and treating the bullish run that we're seeing right now as just retracement. So I'm expecting price to come back down into that support. You can see on the 4H hourly was still bullish, so still no reason to short this pair right now. Still making those higher highs, higher lows. So when we do get the reversal signals, can look to short NZD-USD back into that same support and potentially a break of that as well. A little bit more aggressive, but I can see NZD-USD pushing through those and create some new lows there as well if it does want to follow the other US dollar pairs. But I can see that happening. USD-CAD as well, another pair that again treating this as retracement because we did have that massive bull run last week, which again was expected because on the daily we're having that bit of that ball shape. Lower lows went into forming higher lows, so we gradually lost that bearish momentum and built up with that bullish momentum, and then just had that real kick to the upside right there. So again, USD-CAD had that big push, so as you expect, you do expect to see the market retrace before continuing back to the upside. So that's what I'm treating this as, USD-CAD retracement. An area of interest for USD-CAD for it to go back up is this area here, which is around 1.22865. So if the market does hold this area, I can see USD-CAD reversing all the way to the upside again, back to highs and potentially even higher highs. So definitely an area to look out for USD-CAD. If we do break through that, then again the next area of interest will be this area here. Again, nice area of demand, big push to the upside, so will have an effect on price. But right now the market's pulled into a nice area of interest, so if we do reverse from this area, I think it's going to be the sign that price wants to push back into the highs all the way up here and potentially even further, because remember USD CAD has been trending to the downside for a very long time, and it needs to take that breather. And I think after that big push we had with the help of the fundamentals, it could be time for that big breather and see a bigger push to the upside. Not necessarily a reversal, but maybe a bigger counter trend move, and then maybe in a few weeks time we might collapse again to the downside. But we're definitely due a breather for USD CAD. USD JPY, a little bit funny this pair. Again, JPY and USD quite similar, so a little bit more choppy than the other USD pairs. But again, we were favouring more longs to the upside for USD JPY. I did say in my weekly analysis that if you do retrace, look for those buying opportunities, because it's likely that price is going to bounce and continue to the upside with that US dollar strength we're seeing in the markets. So again, we had this nice trend line here, and I believe we had another test of it either Friday last week or Monday. I think Monday we had a test of that. Now we're seeing the continuation. Of course, we've got a strong area of resistance here. This was our previous higher high, and I do see the market breaking through this area here and pushing through to that next area on the daily. If I do zoom out, kind of this area here. So if you are looking to trade USD/JPY, I'll be looking for buys for this pair if I was to trade it. Of course, right now I wouldn't buy it. We're into a very strong area of resistance. Probably wait for that to retrace and then look for some buying opportunities, like we had one here when it bounced into that trend line and we saw that nice continuation to the upside. So that was a good buy there for USD/JPY. But right now I do see us breaking through this daily resistance. So on the retest, potentially that could be a nice area to look to buy it back in if we do get that break and retest and the confirmation. But again, guys, probably be a little bit more careful, because again, it's a major area of resistance, so we're likely to have some manipulation, force breakout, catch people on the wrong side. So probably be a bit more careful with that entry. But if we do break and retest, it could be a nice indication that price wants to continue to the upside there. But yeah, overall expecting more upside for USD/JPY and potentially some new highs as well. USD/CHF, same thing with this pair as well. Big push to the upside. If we're on the daily, you can see the proportion of that move compared to the previous price action. We had about three strong bullish days, which engulfed about, I don't know, 28 or something like that candles, maybe even more, to be fair, more candles. So you can see it's a very impulsive move, indicating that momentum has definitely switched from the bears to the bulls, and I do see us pushing to the upside. Again, I do expect to see a little bit more retrace for USD/CHF after that big push, but it doesn't have to, obviously. But yeah, my bias is to the upside. I want to see a bit more retrace. I did highlight this area here as an area of interest, because that's where we had a nice area of demand, so we might tap into that and then go to the upside. But right now it's having a hard time even to push into this area here. It's hard to break in through this area of support here in the 1 hourly time frame. So it might mean that the market might find support here and continue to the upside, which it well could do. But I don't think I'll trade it just because it hasn't retraced enough for my liking. Got other pairs like GBP/USD and AUD/USD, which has retraced a lot more than these pairs here, especially GBP. So yeah, they're more to my liking than USD/CHF. Although my bias is still to the upside, I probably prefer to trade GBP/USD rather than USD/CHF. But if you were to see a push the downside back into this area, that would interest me a lot more. And again, the risk reward would be a lot greater, because we'll be targeting those previous highs up there and then if you get past that, we can go a lot further as well. But yeah, more upside for USD-CHF this week, but right now I do believe we're in retracement mode. If you take a look at some of the JPY pairs, we'll start with GBJPY. So GBJPY, we're seeing a lot of actually bullish momentum coming into these markets here, and as you can see, we are pushing to the upside quite aggressively. If I go to the daily, you can see a big push down last week and a big push back up. We're coming into the same area basically where we kind of consolidated before having that big break to the downside. So if GBJPY is to reverse back down, this is the area where you expect GBJPY to go down from, because again, very strong area of supply, and we did break through structure as well. So if GBJPY wants to go down, this is the area where I do expect it to do so. Right now, again, you can see if I just get rid of that, the market is still very, very bullish here. So probably not the best pair to short as of yet. Want to wait for a bit more development there. Again, still creating higher highs, higher lows, and then the hourly higher highs, higher lows there as well. So not the best pair to short. Similar to GPUSD, again looking to short that one, but still too bullish for me to short. So I want to see a nice shift of momentum there, and then potentially could look to short. As for targets, again, a bit aggressive, but I can see if we do reject it, price getting back down to these lows here, and then potentially further, depending if we do see some strong yen coming into the markets. But if that does happen, then yeah, I can see a low past that and price move further. Still treating this price action here as retracement, but if we start breaking past this area here, past this resistance, then I might consider price action reversing still, well, not reversing, but turning back bullish overall, and then yeah, looking for buys for GBJPY if that was to happen. But right now I'm on the short side of things for GBJPY, and this area here, nice area to look for those shorts, but again, like I said, still a little bit too bullish for my liking. Euro JPY, again similar, quite bullish, pushing to the upside, but we did collapse the downside last week, so you do expect to see some retracement. I can still see Euro JPY fall into the downside. We're coming back into this area of support here, which I do think will have some type of reaction for Euro JPY. As you can see there, nice area of support there on the daily, and if I just take this to the 4H, probably see it a little bit better. So yeah, nice area of support there on the 4H as well. So I do expect to see some type of reaction from the 4-hourly time frame for Euro JPY on that level, and yeah, potentially shorts as well. So Euro JPY, GBJPY, all coming to areas where you do expect to see the market reverse if they were to continue bearish. If they weren't, they'll probably break through and keep going, and then we can flip a bias from bearish to bullish. But right now, after that big drop that we had last week, I'm looking to continue that momentum into next week, well, this week anyway, and see if we can get price back at those lows. But like I said, guys, still too bullish for my liking. But yeah, looking for those shorts on those pairs. Next, going to take a look at CAD JPY. So again, another JPY pair. Again, pushing to the upside as well. You can see that on the daily, big push down, big push up. We actually came into an area of structure, so CAD JPY was expected to see a nice big push up, because you can see previous resistance here forming that major high, pullback, push up, and now we're retesting that. So it's just simply price breaking and retesting that same level, giving us that strong reaction. But again, similar to JPY, we're coming into an area of supply where we were consolidating for a few days before dropping to the downside. So again, CAD JPY, if it was to stay bearish, well, not overall, it's still bullish, but this price action here, lower low, lower high, if this price action was to stay bearish here, then we should roll over to the downside. But if we break through that means the overall trend for CAD-JPY is still very much to the upside. And yeah, we'll flip the bias from bearish to long, but as you can see, CAD-JPY is still very bullish here, and needs to see a nice shift in momentum here to get me involved. But so far, the market is still too bullish for that, so not interested in shorting CAD-JPY, but I can see some shorts coming up, especially from the area we're trading at. So looks like a lot of the JPY pairs in areas where you do expect to see the market move down. I'm expecting to see a bearish reaction. Whether it's a big one or a short one, not too sure, but if it is a big one, then I do expect to see some new lows in the market and a big move down, and just a continuation from last week's bearish momentum there. If you take a look at AUD-JPY, this pair again pushing to the upside. This one a little bit more messy, choppy. Again, a lot of the other JPY pairs, GBJPY, EUR-JPY, make a little bit more sense than this one. So not really too interested in AUD-JPY this week. We pulled into this area of support here, and as you can see, a nice reaction. Overall, it does look like we're having a hard time pushing on, and looks like the market is trying to turn bearish. And if it does, I do expect to see some type of reaction from this area here in the market. Previous support there will be term resistance, so I do expect to see some type of reaction from that level for AUD-JPY and a push down. But like I said, a little bit more messy, because I can just draw a nice area of resistance above here and complete this one here, and it looks like the market overall is just moving sideways, so maybe best to leave that market alone. But I can see some shorts coming from that level there back into that same support. Hello David, good morning man, how are you? Yeah, sure, we'll take a look at some GBP pairs. So yeah, I'll start with GBUSD and GBJPY. So these two pairs, looking for shorts for pound USD and pound JPY. Pound USD, like I was saying, we've had this double bottom here, then we start trending to the upside. So price was looking quite bullish. I thought we we're going to see some new highs there. Well, we did slightly, but really see price kick on maybe to 1.43 or 1.44 for GBUSD. However, we got this consolidation, broke to the downside, and was starting to look a little bit bearish here. Not essentially a reversal, but we could be taking a breather for GBUSD after the long rally we've seen for the past few months now. You can see on the daily chart we've got this key level of resistance here around the 1.4 mark. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially a fifth test here, and if we do hold this, which I can see GBUSD doing, I will be looking to short GBUSD back into that previous support here, and a break of that, I think I will be holding on to shorts all the way down to these lows here for GBUSD, which is around 1.36880. But yeah, GBUSD looking for those shorts coming to a very, very key level, and yeah, I want to see a nice shift in momentum first before I look to short, because you can see the market is still a little bit too bullish for me. And then I'll look to short pound USD back into that same support where we're retracing from, and the break of that down to 1.36880. Yeah, but overall looking for shorts for pound USD. Also looking for shorts for pound JPY as well. Again, for similar reasons, we did see that big collapse to the downside last week, and now we're pushing to the upside again. So if the market does want to continue with this like bearish counter trend move, you do expect to see some type of bearish reaction, at least from this area for pound JPY. If we were to break through, I believe the market is going to be very, very bullish, and I'll probably flip my bias from bearish to long, bearish to bullish. But I do see a reaction from this level, and potentially price back at this support here for pound JPY. Again, strong area of supply, we were consolidating, and we broke to the downside, price come back to retest it, and I do expect to see another bearish reaction. But if we were to break through, again, that setup was obviously invalid. I'll probably switch my buys to longs. But as you can see, similar to GBPUSD, still a little bit too bullish for me to get interested just yet. But yeah, I do expect to see a reaction for JPY in this area. So it looks like pound JPY, pound USD were in those areas where we do expect the market to turn. It just hasn't happened yet for those two pairs. But yeah, looking for shorts and see if we can target these lows down there for these pairs. But yeah, like I said, still a little bit too bullish. Next, if I take a look at GBP AUD, I believe we've been trending to the upside for this pair quite nicely. So yeah, you can see we've trended to the upside really well on the daily. We are coming to an area of resistance here, which can cause some problems to this uptrend. Yeah, if you do reject this area, we can see some bearishness come into the markets for GBP. You can see we've been pushing to the upside really aggressively after we had this consolidation. So we are due a little bit of a breather for GBP. Obviously, we could break through this area and just continue, but if we hold on to it, I can see some downside for pound AUD. For the market, need to have a breather. So a little bit aggressive shorts, but I think it could pay off. You can see on the hourly, if I just get rid of that. If I go to the hourly, you can see the market's been trending to the upside here, but is having a hard time pushing through this resistance here. We've had 1, 2, third attempt, very strong reaction there. So I do see pound AUD pushing back into this support here. Of course, we've got this support right here, which might send price back up. But if we do break through that, I do see pound pushing back into this support down there, and potentially even further if we see some AD strength coming into the markets. Yeah, I'm using MT4 because I'm not currently at my my normal desk. I'm actually away, so I've actually got my laptop, so I don't have all my screens to use, so kind of hard for me to switch screens and do my live stream at the same time. So it's a lot easier if I just do my live stream on MT4. Otherwise, yeah, I'll be switching the screen like every second, and it would be hard to do the live stream. So yeah, I'm currently away, so I'll be using MT4. But next week, I'll be back on my TradingView platform doing the live stream on that. But yeah, currently away this week. So yeah, GBP more downside, and that will probably be the same for GBP as well. So yeah, GBP having a tough time moving up, and you can see we're slowly trying to turn bearish here for GBP. You can see clear level of resistance here in the market. So 1, 2, 3, come down, tried to move back up again, formed another lower high, and now collapsed into the downside. So I think we're going to see some downside here for GBP. Kind of last barrier of support, which is this area here, 1.98242. If you can break through this support, then I do see a bigger move to the downside, because similar to GBP, we've been on this bullish run here, and I do think it's time to see a bit of a breather now for GBP. So again, not a massive run to the downside, but we could catch a few pips, because again, GBP does give a lot of pips, and a move to the downside from that support to that support is again over 100 pips. So it's definitely an idea to think of. But yeah, GBP, you can see we've had multiple attempts to create those higher highs, failing to do so. It looks like we're creating these lower highs now, so a bit of retracement, and then could look to short it back down into 1.97120. But my bias for GBP is the downside, and I think we do have a little bit of a trend line here in the markets. So that might be like the last barrier, which does kind of line up with that support anyway. So break through that support, break through that trend line, probably take us to this support here, 1.97190. So that's what I'm seeing for GPND, unless of course we hold this area and we see a big shift in momentum, then maybe we're going to have another bounce to the outside to test that resistance on the hourly again. So if you do hold that trend line, stroke hold that support, then yeah, we might see another bounce into that, but this momentum is building up to the downside, so I do think we'll probably break through that and continue further. GPCHF, this one is looking very bullish here. I'm favoring GPCHF to continue to the upside actually. This pair again for quite some time it's just been moving sideways, but it is indicating that price is wanting to break through this resistance here in the market, which is having multiple attempts at trying to do so, and I do believe we can break through that resistance there for GPCHF. And if we do that, I do see price pushing into this resistance all the way up here for pound CHF. If we don't, we'll probably just see another swing to the downside again and just continue this range for GBCHF. But overall, we've had multiple attempts trying to break to the downside, and now every time, if I just zoom in quickly, you can see we have a strong move up, retracement, strong move up, retracement, strong move up. So the impulsive moves are to the upside rather than down. So price is having that stronger move up and then retracing down, strong move up, retracing down, which is indicating that we want to turn bullish. So I'm expecting to see a break of this resistance, and again the obvious place, well the logical place where price would probably go if we were to break that resistance is to the next resistance just above us up there. Of course it might find some resistance before that, it might consolidate, might retrace before that, but I think from a daily point of view that's where we could be seeing so potential good uptrend could be forming for a day trading point of view. Take advantage of those retracements and riding it up to that resistance up there. 4 hour, again no real opportunity for me, probably wait for the break and retest, but I really want to see price really push up then come down, not with just 1 or 2 candles, because that could easily be a false move there. But yeah, I do see pound JPY break, pound CHF, I don't know why I keep saying pound JPY, but yeah, I do see pound CHF breaking through that resistance and going a lot further. And of course if I'm wrong, we'll probably just get another swing to the downside, which again is still another good opportunity anyway. So as long as we get on the right side of the market, GBCHF could be a pair to look at for a potential move. GBCAD, this pair again very choppy still, have not traded it for some time, and you can see why. This is the daily chart for the past, I can't count those days, but it's definitely over 20. But yeah, so for about almost a month, good part of a month, we've just been moving sideways, bullish candle, bearish candle, bullish candle, bearish candle, basically. So awful pair to trade right now. So yeah, I haven't touched it at all. Right now you can see we're slowly pushing to the upside, so slowly creating higher highs, higher lows. I think as long as we keep that, I assume price will probably just push into the upside until it breaks structure basically. And if we break structure, then we might be seeing some strength coming into the markets, not strength but some stronger price action, so impulsive candles, and really see some momentum in GPK, because all of this build up, all this price action, all this consolidation is just building up for a bigger move in the markets, up or down. We've been seeing that for GPUSD, ADUSD, when we all saw all that build up in price action and we saw that big relief. So that could be coming up for GBCAD. Maybe again fundamentals might have a part for GBCAD, giving us that big breakout. But yeah, right now again I'm not looking to trade it, but all I'm seeing right now is price slowly pushing to the upside, creating higher highs, higher lows. So if you were to trade this, I'll only be looking for buying opportunities really, not trying to anticipate price breaking through this trend line, because it's just so choppy, so messy, that the odds of price breaking that trend line, something on a bearish move, is not in your favor. So yeah, buys make a lot more sense, but even that I will stay away from GBCAD. But yeah, like I said, as long as we keep making those higher highs, higher lows, respecting that trend line, then yeah, more upside for GBP CAD, and maybe a push back into that resistance up there, and probably some new highs as well. But yeah, not keen on trading pound CAD. So yeah, and I'll do Euro GBP as well. So yeah, Euro GBP, expecting more downside for this pair. Again, like I said, my weekly analysis, if you haven't checked that out, make sure you go do that. I'm expecting to see Euro GBP push back down into this area of support down there, which is where we had this big push. We tried to turn bullish, however we failed, and now the market is still pushing to the downside. So yeah, I'm seeing more downside for Euro GBP. Again, similar to GBP CAD, or not completely similar, but it's still a very choppy pair. So not the best pair to trade, but if you were, I'll probably wait for the price to retrace a little bit and then take it back down, retrace, take it back down, because as you can see, all these lower highs are just giving us those moves to the downside. So yeah, more shorts for Euro GBP, and yeah, potentially move back down to 0.85. So yeah, currently not in any pair, but I do have my eyes on GBP USD and pound JPY and AUD USD, all shorts, basically carrying on that momentum from last week. So again, like I said before, eyes on GBP USD from this area to the downside back into that same support, and if you do get a break into the support down there, that might take a week to get there. So I'm not sure if I'll hold on to that trade for that entire time, but nonetheless, expecting to see a swing back down to that support for GBP/USD. So that's kind of like the main move I'm looking for this week. And similar for AUD/USD, we had a big collapse to the downside last week if I go on the daily, and we broke through a major area of support as well. So you can see really strong support, 1, 2, and now we broke through that. Now expecting to see a reaction on the underneath, so as resistance. And if you do hold that, I expect to see that bearish momentum from last week continue and see us push further to the downside. And I'll be targeting 0.74, which is this weekly area, prior weekly resistance here, which is now support. So yeah, that's why I'm favoring price to go for AUD/USD. Probably that might take next week as well, so I wouldn't say by the end of this week, maybe next week, but yeah, I do see price pushing to the downside for AUD/USD and GBP/USD. So looking at those pairs, this week, yeah, sure, if I do get any valid trades for those, I will make sure I'll put them in the Telegram and let you guys know. But currently still a little bit too bullish for my liking, so I will keep my eye on these pairs for the rest of today, probably again into Thursday as well, and then hopefully we can get a nice trade for these pairs and ride them to the downside. So yeah guys, make sure if you want me to look at any pairs, just let me know, drop it down in the live chat, and I'll make sure I'll give you some analysis on those pairs. Or if you need any trades as well, let us know. I'll take a look at it, see how those trades are going. But yeah, currently looking at that GBP/USD short trade. And some of the other USD pairs as well. Like I said, EUR/USD looks good because of that big push we had to the downside last week. It looks good to take that down again, but it just hasn't retraced enough for my liking. GBP/USD has traced a lot more, and it looks a lot better in terms of risk to reward, even though I do see Euro USD pushing back down into this support all the way down there. But again, that might take a week or two to get there anyway, so Euro USD might form some clearer setup maybe later in the week or early next week. So I'll probably put Euro USD on the sidelines and wait for a little bit better opportunity to come through again later in the week or next week, and then probably look to trade it then. But GBP/USD looks good for some shorts either today or tomorrow. Yeah, so I'll take a look at USD-CAD. So USD-CAD, like I said, for this one, looking for longs as well for USD-CAD. USD-CAD has had some good retracement as well, better than Euro USD, and has actually come to an area of interest. Again, I did highlight this area and this area down here, kind of two areas that are we looking for to see if USD-CAD will turn bullish, and then potentially could take this higher. So these are kind of two areas I'm looking at. So far, let's test the first one, and if you do shift momentum from bearish to bullish, I can see a big push to the upside for USD-CAD. And again, the risk to reward looks really good as well, because if it does play out, I do see USD-CAD pushing back into this resistance up there and create some higher highs as well. So yeah, more upside for USD-CAD is coming into that area, because again, like I said, we're expecting to see some type of retracement after this big push. We're coming into a trend line as well, so I do expect to see some retracement. And then if you do get that continuation from a daily point of view, this is where I do see USD-CAD pushing into that resistance all the way up here, which is around 1.26, which is kind of like our previous major lower high, and I do see price revisiting that. Again, that might take a week or two to get there, so if I was to take any longs on USD-CAD, probably won't be targeting that area, probably this resistance there, because yeah, it might take a week or two to get there, because we can just get a better opportunity maybe next week as well. So yeah, USD-CAD favoring longs from this area, but right now, like I said guys, 4H hourly still a little bit too bearish for me. I want to see a nice shift in momentum, see some more rejection, and then potentially can look for go longs. But yeah, I'm focusing on GBP/USD a little bit more than USD-CAD anyway, so I got my eye on that pair a little bit more, and obviously pound JPY as well. After this big push we've had to the upside, I do see price coming down, and the risk to reward, if it does play out, is a lot better on pound JPY and pound USD than the other pairs. You want to see a big change in momentum, so you want to see price either give you some long wicks or some big bullish candles coming instead of the bearish candles. So like if I was to give you an example and scroll across, so like GBP/USD, which I was in a short trade last week, and I moved to the downside. You can see here the market was pushing to the upside here, very strong bullish candles, and then you can see the momentum was buying out. Then we saw this change in momentum there, strong bearish candle, bit of a doji, and then we saw the continuation. So that for me is a nice indication that the market's changed from bearish to bullish, and then we can see the continuation. So essentially what you're looking for is just a change of momentum. That can be like wicks or strong candles in the opposite direction. So it doesn't necessarily just have to be an engulfing candle. You want to see candles that indicate that the market could be changing in that momentum. And you can see here, as long as price is pushing up, it's dying momentum, changing to bearish, pushing up, nice wicks as well, pushing up, nice wicks as well. So looking for a bit of that. And if I go back to USD-CAD, you can see price had a nice push downside, dying momentum, gained a little bit of bullish momentum, but wasn't enough. And then here we're seeing some rejection, but I want to see some nice engulfing candles. and giving me a nice push, maybe even breaking through that resistance there as well. So if it does that, then I know that price is probably turned bullish, so that can be a good enough entry for me, and I'll look to ride it to the upside up there, and then you can just scale into your low time frames if you want to use maybe in the 50-minute to get a better entry and maximize your reward. But yeah, I just look for that nice shift. So even like here, nice bullish candles, dying of momentum. And then we saw this nice bearish candle here. That's a good shift of momentum. And as you can see, we did collapse to the downside. So just looking for that good change to get me in the market. Or again, like I said, nice wick rejections as well. But here's not much. Now if I go to GPUSD as well, you can see we're seeing a lot of strength here in GPUSD. We're seeing some bearish candles, but again, if you look at compared to that bullish move up there, it doesn't really make much difference really. So the market is still kind of bullish. These two bearish candles here could easily just be retracement. Then we see another bullish candle create another higher high. So I want to see price push up, push down aggressively, or give me a nice long wick. You know, something that indicates that the bulls are running out of momentum and the bears are starting to kick in. And even like we had here, we had this triple bottom, so 1, 2, 3. Then we saw this nice aggressive push, nice closure just above that previous candle over there, nice close above. So that's an indication that we flipped and we turned bearish to bullish. So that's a nice indication. As you can see, a nice run to the upside as well. Whereas here we had that strong bearish momentum. We saw some nice bullish candles, but as you can see, we didn't even clear that previous candle's high. So not much bullish momentum there. And as you can see, that overall the bear still won that. So again, nothing for us to get involved there. But here we're seeing some failure, and price is giving us some wicks, failing to push through, getting that triple bottom, and then we saw the change of momentum. So that's typically what I look for, to wait for the market to turn bearish to bullish or bullish to bearish. And as you can see here, again, the market just closed at 11, and again, very weak candles compared to these bullish candles. So overall, not interested in that move just yet. And similar for USD CAD, low momentum candles there. So again, not involved in that either. But yeah, GPUSD is definitely a pair I've got my eye on. And same with pound JPY as well. And if I go in pound JPY, you can still see this market is still very, very bullish. Just delete that. And I go on the hourly, you can still see very bullish as well. Big push up, low momentum bearish candles there. So yeah, we could easily see another bullish candle and push up and just keep going, break through that area, and then that would just be invalid setup completely. And yeah, I'll look to change my bias if that was to happen, but just waiting to see if we can get that shift in momentum, and then we can look to go bearish. But nothing for me just yet. We'll take a look at gold as well. So gold, again, same as the USD and JPY pairs last week, we did see a big collapse to the downside for gold as well. As you can see, very big push to the downside. Thursday and Friday's candles really did kick off and broke through some key levels. Right now on the daily chart, we are testing a key area of support, and you can see we are getting a slight bullish reaction from it, which was expected. Strong area of support, big push, 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 and now we're at it again. So it just depends whether, let's delete that, whether price wants to break through it or not. You can see on the weekly though, big shift in momentum here. You can see these bullish candles coming up, big shift in momentum. So if we were to see the market turn bullish again, you want to see this week's candle, you know, turn really bullish and push up again, which it's not doing. So I'm seeing more downside for gold right now rather than up. And if you also take a look at it as well, we are also forming these lower highs here in the market. So that's a high there, that's a high there, that's a high there, and that's a high potentially there as well. So we are still forming these lower highs in the market, so the market is still overly bearish on the weekly. We know that if we do zoom out, we can see gold is obviously trending to the upside, but for this short-term trend here, it's still bearish. So if we do take into account that, we can potentially see price pushing back into this support here, potentially create some lower lows, but I do think gold will eventually revisit these highs sooner or later. So again, I don't expect to see, just because we are forming these lower highs, for gold to collapse to the downside. I think this bearish trend will end sooner or later and will push us back to those highs. But because we are still bearish, we do have that big change of momentum there, and we're not really seeing this week's candle take off. Of course, it still does have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to kick off. But again, if we do even move into the lower time frames like the 4H, you can see there's hardly any bullish momentum here in the markets. In fact, there's barely any momentum really, kind of just moving sideways for gold. But yeah, indication that this was a false move and we're going to see the bulls come right back in is really non-existent. So yeah, I do see gold pushing to the downside again this week. Right now it's just moving sideways. I think it's just again moving sideways, building up, ready for a big move up or down. It could be up because price would should like to retrace some of this bearish move here. As you can see, big drop. It hasn't really retraced any of it really. You can expect to see the price move halfway. So yeah, that potentially could happen. But yeah, my bias is to the downside for gold. So if it does give a nice short opportunity, but I want a bit more retracement, potentially to around this area here. If we can retrace to that area, that'd be great, and then we could look to short that back down. But yeah, more downside for gold, but I might want to retrace first and need to watch out for that. Hi, welcome to the channel then. Welcome to the channel. I hope you do enjoy the content. But yeah, if you want me to take a look at any pairs or you want to share your trades, just let us know, drop it in the chat. We'll take a look at any pairs that you want to take a look at. But welcome to the channel. But yeah, like I said, gold favoring more shorts, but it's at a very strong area of support, so I don't really want to short gold right now where it is, and it's due some retracement as well. So kind of two important factors that are kind of going against my bias to short. So if anything, we might see a retracement up. I'm not sure if I'll get involved in that because I'm not seeing that much mileage. I think the mileage is more to the downside. The reward is slightly better if the setup does play out, of course. But yeah, I think gold due some retracement, but I think the big move is the downside anyway, so we'll stay away from that. Of course, it could fall to the downside from where it is now. It doesn't have to retrace, but of course we would like to, and you know, take the best setup possible. And right now, gold is not really giving me much to play with, so we'll sit on the sidelines for gold, wait for a better opportunity, maybe come later this week or even next week, and then we could look to get involved with gold then. Okay, we'll take a look at that now. Yeah, so AUD, I'm actually throwing a move to the downside for this pair. Again, I can see why you probably went long, because after that big drop we had to towards the end of last week, well, not towards the end, since Wednesday pretty much, we can expect to see retracement for AUD. You know, I don't think we've come halfway of this drop to the downside here on the daily. We haven't even come halfway, so yeah, we can still see some more upside, but again, I'll be a bit wary of your long just because of this area of resistance here. There's 0.75 900 area. If I go on the daily quickly, you can see, if I do scroll across, you can see this area of support here, support there as well, will be acting as resistance. So again, it doesn't have to hold. it can obviously break through and your trade could go swimmingly well, but I'll probably just be aware of that that zone you're trading into. But I do realize we do need to see that retracement, but I'll be wary of that support there because it might hold as resistance and could send the price down against you. So maybe if you were to push on and you do get into profit quickly, maybe get your stop loss to break even, or get your stop loss to break even quickly, or take some partials, because it could turn the market against you. Yeah, so be careful of that. But if you were to break through above that, then yeah, your trade does have a lot of room to work to, so it could take off to the upside quite well. But yeah, it just depends if the price wants to break through that resistance or not. So maybe you want to take a look at that. And if you do get into some nice profit early on, yeah, might want to put your stop loss to break even, protect your trade, and get some partials off as well. Hi Cheer, yeah, no, currently not in any trades right now, but I am looking for some shorts on GBP USD. It's coming to an area of interest here. We had that big collapse to the downside last week, and you see all this resistance here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here acting as support, and now we're testing again for the 6th time. And I want to see that act as a resistance. So if that does, I will be looking to short GBP/USD this week. Hopefully we get set up later on today, but it might come again tomorrow, depending what type of price action we get. You might want to consolidate, but yeah, eyes on GBP/USD for me anyway, looking for some shorts to the downside. If we were to break through that, then I might still look for shorts a bit higher up and just anticipate a bit of a false breakout. Just after that big collapse to the downside, I can see some more continuation to the downside, and this bullish move here looks to me as just retracement. Of course I could be wrong, but if it isn't wrong and the setup does play out, I can see a push the downside back into this support where we did hold the market there on Monday, and a breakthrough that could take us back down to this support all the way down there. So that is what I'm looking for GBP/USD. But yeah, the market is still a little bit too bullish for me, so I won't be shorting that yet. But maybe later today, maybe New York, or maybe tomorrow London, we might see some nice formations there to take this down, some nice confirmations. But yeah, looking for a move to the downside for GBP/USD and GBJPY as well. Similar reasons. If I go and pound JPY, we've had this big push to the upside recently. Again, we were testing a trend line as well, so there was some confluence behind this move to the upside for pound JPY. You can see the trend line 1, 2, bit of a false breakout, but 3 and 4 have that push to the upside. We did see that big collapse, and I want to see if price can hold this area here, nice area of supply where we consolidated before breaking to the downside. So if pound JPY was to give a move to the downside, you would think this would be the area price would do that from. So again, if you do turn bearish in there, we'll be looking to take some shorts and capitalize on the move to the downside. But as you can see, if we go on the 4H, still bullish, hourly still bullish as well. So not looking to short GBJPY just yet, because it's still way too bullish. But if it was to turn bearish, we'll be looking for some shorts, and the risk to reward is quite good as well, because I will be looking for a move back down to that same support. So the mileage is there for pound JPY, but like I said, still way too bullish for me. So we'll see if we can get maybe some shorts in later today or tomorrow. But if it stays too bullish, I'll just stay out the market, maybe even flip my bias to bullish for that one. And yeah, the same thing for GBP/USD as well. Yeah, so GBP/USD, I was doing some analysis on that one earlier, and yeah, like I said, I am favouring GBP/USD to break to the downside. We do have an area of support that price might want to have a bounce at, but you can see we've been in this uptrend for quite some time now for GBP/USD, and you can see on the hourly time frame we've pushed to this resistance once, second time, third time failed. So it looks like price is really failing at this high here, struggling to make those higher highs. So it's giving us an indication that we might be seeing a reversal, Then we see a nice fall to the downside here, and we're also seeing these lower highs as well. So it's giving us an indication that the bears are starting to come into the play a little bit more, and that that the bulls are starting to fail. But this is for me like the last area of support, kind of last area where the bulls will come back into the market at. So nice area of support there, and also this trend line as well. So if I go to 4H, you can see this trend line connecting these lows there as well. So if the bulls were to win and take control of this market again and see another higher high, this is where they will probably come from, or generally around that area anyway, and push up. But if you were to break through, then that's indicating that the bears, they're coming through and they're winning. So I want to see a break of that and a retest, and then we could look to short that. And then the target for GPNSD would be this support here, where we had this kind of triple bottom, 1, 2, 3, and then broke to the upside. So if you were to break through that support and that trend line, that is where I'm expecting price to go, because it does look like GPNSD is running out a bit of steam, and we could see a push down. But like I said, if you don't break through that support, you could actually see a push back into that resistance anyway. So try not to be too aggressive with that one, because we do have an area of confluence there. Trendline traders will be coming in there, and support and resistance traders will be coming there as well. So bulls will be stepping back into the market in that area. But if we were to break through and fail, then yeah, downside does look quite likely for GPNSD, and back into that same support does look quite good as well. So yeah, shorts can be coming along, but not just yet, in my opinion, for GPNSD. Hello, yeah, it's been a while. Welcome back to the live stream. Yeah, if you're looking at any different charts, let us know. Take a look at them together. But welcome back. Happy to have you on the stream again. Thank you, Chia. It does mean a lot. Appreciate that. Yeah, so same here. I expect to see GJ go down as well. Pound JPY is coming to a really nice area where if it was to go down, it's at that area where you do expect to see that price come down at. Again, we'll look at this from a daily point of view. It's pushed back to this area of supply here, where we had that consolidation, and then we saw that big dump to the downside. As you can see, big dump to the downside. We're back at the same area again. So if price was to go down for GJ, for pound JPY, this is the area where you do expect it to go to. If it was to break through and just keep this bullish momentum, then yeah, it's probably indicating that price is back bullish again. I'll probably wait for a retrace and look to buy pound JPY if that was to happen. But currently we're in that zone, so if you do turn bearish here, then yes, some shorts are looking good for pound JPY. And yeah, I will be targeting this support all the way down there. So there is a good amount of reward to catch if we were to get this move. That is about 300, over 300 pips. So yeah, might not be in the move for the whole move. Might not be in the trade for the whole move, but there is a lot of pips to catch there for GJ if it was to come through. But like I said, pound JPY is still way too bullish for any shorts. So yeah, I need to see a big change in momentum to the bears. But yeah, it's in the area where I do see GJ coming down. It's just not quite there yet. Yeah, that looks like a good trade there. Trading Indian, that looks like a good trade. Yeah, I mean, like you said, you locked in profit, so there's no need to worry. Stress-free trade, really there. We do have that resistance there, so maybe need to be aware of that. Not too far away. But yeah, overall the price is still bullish. Like I said, the move to the downside doesn't have to happen. We could still storm to the upside there and continue a lot higher. So yeah, as long as you already bagged some profit, your stop loss is above entry, then there's nothing to worry about. Just let price do what it wants to do. If it hits your TP, hits your TP. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But either way, it's a win-win situation for you. So that looks like a good trade. Well done for that. For pound JPY short, I want to see a big shift of momentum here. So you can see prices making these higher highs, higher lows, and overall, the size of these bullish candles are a lot bigger compared to these bearish candles. So I want to see price push and give me a strong bearish candle, bit of retrace, form potentially a lower high, and then can look to get short on that. But yeah, I want to see a big shift of momentum. So similar to what we had over here, you can see a big move down, big move back up. You know, that's indicating that the bears are starting to fail and the bulls are coming back in, or a bit of a false move, or potentially a really long wick, or a few wicks together. So 2, 3, or 4 wicks, showing that price is struggling to break through, because we're already in that area of resistance, already in the area where we want to short at. So all now we need to see is that confirmation. So right now it's still too bullish. I want to see some strength in the bears coming in, maybe a lower high, maybe if the price was to break through, because we do have a little bit of a trend line here. Not really the most accurate trend line, but a little bit of a trend line there. So a break of that trend line will be good as well, and maybe look for the retest. But yeah, something indicating to me that the bulls are failing and the bears are coming in, because right now price is still pushing up, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So it doesn't make sense to short that market right now, because it could actually break through that area and continue bullish anyway. So if that does happen, we don't want to be in the trade. So we'll look to see if we can get some bears coming in, but right now there's nothing there. I use hourly time frame for my entry. I used to use 4 hour, but I've dropped to the hourly chart to kind of maximize my risk to reward. But yeah, I use hourly mostly to enter my trade. Sometimes I use 15-minute. If the price action is really clear, then I'll drop to the 15-minute, because then I can even maximize it, you know, a lot more. But I don't really like using the 15-minute too much, just because it's just a little bit more stressful, and you have to be at your computer a lot longer. Whereas hourly, you know, every time, you know, the hour goes, you have a candle closure. So, you know, I could do what I like, and then I know, you know, 5-10 minutes before the next hour goes, I can quickly check my phone to see if there's anything. There's nothing, I carry on with my day. But 15-minute, you know, you have to, obviously you can carry on with your day, but you have to be, you know, a lot more, you have to concentrate a lot more and be a lot more ready. But again, it does pay off, because the risk to reward is a lot better. And at the end of the day, we're taking the same trades. So if you take it on the 15-minute, you obviously have a lot better risk to reward than the person taking it on the full H or the hourly. So it does have its rewards, but yeah, mainly hourly I take my trades on. But if the price action is clear and I'm at my desk, then I'll use the 15-minute. Yeah, thank you. I mean, yeah, my chart used to be messy back in the day, but now, yeah, cleaner the better. You know, less is more in trading. A lot less is trading. So, you know, just have your area of interest mapped out, so you kind of know where that is. You know, you don't really have to have a million lines on it. Just, yeah, area of interest really, and then all you have to do is look for those confirmations or whatever you look for, and then, you know, have your stop loss mapped out, your TP mapped out, or the level you're looking at, and that's pretty much all you need. Obviously, when I'm analyzing the markets, I will have a lot more lines drawn, but when I know what I'm looking for, I can, you know, take a lot of that off and just have, you know, the important levels on there, or important areas on there, and then, yeah, not much else is needed on my charts anyway. Nice cheer, yeah. So I'm looking to sell GU and GJ as well, but yeah, nothing for me just yet. And if these trades play out, these moves play out, there's a lot of pips to catch for GU and GJ. So the mileage is certainly there. And at the end of the day, if GJ doesn't even give the move all the way down to down to that support down there, even if it goes halfway, you know, that's still about 150 pips. Yeah, still, if it even goes to this point here, still about 170 pips. So, you know, the mileage is definitely there. So it doesn't have to go all the way down to that support. If it does happy days. If it doesn't, it doesn't matter too much. Yeah, sure, I'll take a look at GBUSD. So yeah, GBUSD, looking for shorts for this one. Like I said, this one, the daily, we've had this consolidation for a few days. We broke to the downside again. Fundamentals did help us on that move to the downside, but overall, price is failing to break through this previous high there in the market. So not necessarily having a reversal just yet, but is indicating that the price is failing to create these higher highs and potentially could be turning bearish potentially. And we've got this key level 1.4. You can see resistance there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th there as support, and now we're testing it as resistance again. And I do see the market holding at this area, and if it does, then we'll probably continue this bearish momentum from last week into this week. Don't worry about these bullish candles here. They're mostly likely just to be retracement. If we were to break through, create some highs, then yeah, we'll change our bias, but right now that's not happening. So we do have our bearish bias. And then yeah, we've tapped into that area there on the daily, dropped to the 4H. You can see a higher lows. So the market is still trending to the upside, but we're treating that as retracement. We tapped into that key level. Hourly, again, still nothing there. So I want to see a good shift of momentum to take me into these shorts. Maybe we do have a bit of a trend line here. Haven't drawn a trend line connecting these lows, so maybe we do have a little bit one there. So yeah, 1, 2, 3. So a bit of a trend line there on the hourly time frame. Maybe a nice break of that could help as well, and to take us to some shorts. And the 30-minute as well, still overly bullish. You can see nice bullish candles coming up. These bearish candles coming down a little bit weak. So we want to see a lot more momentum there. Maybe even wait for the break and the retest to get you involved. But if price was maybe to have one more push to the upside, give us some nice strong wick rejections, failing to break through, that could be the indication that the price is now starting to respect that level there on the daily, and we could see some shorts coming in. But yeah, I want a bit more development there, maybe another push up or 2 more, so give us a bit of a triple top. Again, that's extra confirmation, even better. But yeah, the market is still too bullish even on the 30 minutes, so nothing there for me for GBUSD just yet. I think the most conservative entry will probably wait for a break and retest of that trend line. Maybe some wick rejections or some strong change of momentum can get you involved a little bit earlier on, a bit more money on the table. But if it does play out, the reward will definitely be enough anyway. So yeah, looking for those shorts for GBUSD, but like I said, the market is still bullish, so going to wait on the sidelines, maybe get an entry later today or tomorrow, maybe even Friday. The market could consolidate. Euro USD, so this one again, like I said, I would be looking for shorts for USD as well, but in my opinion, USD just hasn't retraced enough for my liking. On my weekly analysis, if you haven't checked that out, make sure you go do so. I was talking about Euro USD, and I said this area here of 1.2, really nice area of support there on the daily. If we were to retrace it into that, I think that kind of lines up with halfway of this move down. So from this kind of last bullish candle all the way down to this low here, I think that level does line up with halfway. So we do have some confidence there. So if Euro USD was to push back into that area there, it would interest me for some shorts. So on the flip side, I can see some potential longs for USD into that 1.2 area. Again, I'm not really interested in that move. So again, if you're looking to trade it, potentially you can trade it. And that's around 40-50 pips to the upside. But yeah, if you look to trade that, you can do, because we are pushing to the highs here. We've got higher low. The market is respecting support, so maybe if you were to retrace back into this area, show some nice rejection, could be a nice trade to the upside, nice short term. Maybe we scale down to the 15-minute or even 5-minute for that. But yeah, I do see upside for Euro USD, and like I said, I'm looking for shorts this week for Euro USD. But I wanted to see price reach 1.2. It just hasn't done that yet. While GBUSD, you know, it's hit the area of interest where I'm looking to short. So that's why I'm focusing on GBUSD more than Euro USD. But at the end of the day, It hasn't retraced enough for me, so I'm not getting involved. But yeah, I can see those upside opportunities, because again, if I look on the daily, this is a big drop to the downside. You do expect to see some retracement. Again, the market doesn't have to retrace halfway. It would be nice if it does, but it doesn't have to. But if it did do that, yeah, 1.2 is a nice area price. Can maybe break, retest, and then continue all the way down to these lows here. So that's what I'm favoring for Euro USD. But yeah, some short-term buys could look good there on the lower time frames. So yeah, I agree there. Chia, possible up before sell. 1.2 was my area of interest for shorts. So, you know, on the low time frames, that does look good. Personally, I won't be trading that. But yeah, from a lower time frame point of view, buys into that 1.2 does look good. And then yeah, sell from that 1.2 back down again. So yeah, upside for your USD, then some downside. But yeah, I'm just gonna be looking for that downside first. Not first, but downside on the upside. Yeah, I can see EU going to 1.2, to be fair, on the dot. But yeah, it's around the same ballpark anyway, so. You can buy EU now, but I personally wouldn't. You could suffer some drawdown here because you can see this prior wick here, so that's the downside. Although we do expect to see that resistance break for Euro USD. You don't really want to buy into resistance because it could retrace, you know, and you would be in that drawdown. Whereas if you wait for that retracement, of course it doesn't have to, but if it does do that, maybe come back into this area, give us some rejections there, and then that will be a nice area to buy because again, support holds, resistance breaks in the uptrend. So don't really want to buy into that, even though we do expect to see that break, just from a logical standpoint. Or you can wait for a break and retest of that, maybe on the 15-minute, 5-minute break and retest of that level there. That makes a lot more sense. But yeah, I think Euro USD is on its way up. But for me, if I was looking to get involved, I'd wait for price to retrace back into this level here and take it up, even though price probably might not do that, just because it's looking quite bullish now. It probably might not do that. But yeah, the next likely opportunity will probably be the break and retest of that resistance, and then I'll probably target that 1.2, maybe 1.9955 area first, and 1.2 at best, or even further. We'll find out. Yeah, guys, eyes on GPUSD for some sells, but the thing is, GPUSD is still bullish, and if Euro USD wants to go up, that means we might be seeing a little bit more weakness in the US dollar, which means that GPUSD might follow up to the follow Euro USD to the upside as well. And again, we still do have this resistance here. It's only just about tapped into it, so it would be nice if price was to really go test it, wick into it, come back down again. Which just means a lot more confirmations for our part looking for shorts. But yeah, I think Euro USD could see that move up, which means GPUSD, AUDUSD, the other pairs, if you do see that weakness in the dollar, would help push price up. But yeah, like I said, I'm just going to be in the sidelines waiting for the opportunity, and right now, you know, these pairs are still way too bullish here. Some other JPY pairs also look good. Like I did say, Euro JPY looks good for shorts as well. Another alternative to pound JPY, you can see if I go on the daily. You've had this big collapse to the downside here, breaking through, multiple levels of structure, breaking through that trend line as well. So price is quite bearish here for Euro JPY. It's pushed up with a lot of momentum, so a false breakout is on the cards. But if you do zoom out, on the daily, you can see this has had a massive bullish trend here to the upside. We've been trading to the downside for quite some time. Not even a strong downtrend, you can see big push down. So we've been seeing a lot of bullish movement in that downtrend, but now we've had a big burst to the upside. So if we're going to see some retracement for Euro JPY on the long-term scale, it could generate a lot of pips to the downside. And Euro JPY does need a breather eventually, but like I said, the market is still very bullish if we just ignore this big push down. So a false breakout is on the cards, but if it's not and we hold this area, then yeah, I do see some nice downside for Euro JPY. But like I said, too bullish for me to short, way too bullish for me to short. So I'll wait for some retracement, a bit more confirmation. I think if we break through that, then that will be my next area for shorts for Euro JPY. 133.525, this resistance here, 123, maybe a 4 foot, and then we could take it down. But yeah, still too bullish there for Euro JPY. GPNZD. I mean, GPNZD is still in that area of support, so yeah, I'll still be cautious for GPNZD. I'll still be a little bit cautious for GPNZD, even though I still favor it going down and breaking through that support in that trend line. I would still be a little bit cautious for GPNZ just because of that reason, because of the support and the trend line. Again, the break and retest entry is still on. If you were to break through this support, break through that trend line, come back up again, you can look on the lower time frames, maybe some entries there. But yeah, it does have that support, so it might not even be best trade anyway to take. Is anyone looking to trade gold this week, or has done, or is due currently? Because I've been looking at gold and it's got hardly any momentum in that. Gold was looking good early on the week for shorts, but it hasn't really played out, and price is looking sideways really. So yeah, I was saying for gold, if you would see some retracement back to around 1820 area, I think some shorts do look very attractive there for gold. Because remember, like the other Forex pairs, the other USD pairs, we did have that big collapse to the downside. So we did have that big collapse to the downside. So I do expect to see that momentum continue into this week. But this week could just be retracement for gold. And then maybe next week we might see that bearishness come back in. Almost 3 years now, almost 3 years I've been trading. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I mean, for the first pretty much 2 years, or more than 2 years, I stayed away from gold, didn't touch it at all. Touched it once, didn't like it, never touched it. But then recently I've been getting back into it, keeping up with my analysis into it. And actually it does, even though it's not a Forex pair, it does move a bit more aggressively, but it sticks to the rules that Forex pairs do. So it's a bit scary, especially if you're on the lower time frames, but for a longer point of view, like hourly above, it's not bad. But yeah, gold is still moving sideways. Not much momentum in that at all, still moving sideways. So yeah, I would like to see probably a move up first for gold, and then I'll look to short it. Okay, so trading in, you waiting for a breakout of that range basically. Then a breakout of the range to take you down or take you up. Fair enough. I mean, if I go on the daily, you can see we're at this area of support here. So if we do hold into this support, so you can see support there, big move up, support, support, big move up as well again, and we're holding onto that same area. So if you do hold into this area here, then I can see price breaking out that consolidation on the hourly to the upside. And like I said before, we do need to see some retracement for gold. So yeah, we might see a move up for that retracement to happen. If it does, I'll be targeting, no, I won't be targeting because I won't trade it, but if you do trade it, or if it does break to the upside, then I would expect to see 1820 reach for gold, which is kind of this area of supply here. We have this big move down, kind of retrace a little bit, small bullish candle, and then we continue to the downside again. So that's kind of like the first area of interest. If we're to push past that, then I'll probably look at this area here, but I'm not sure if I see gold doing that. Of course, it can do whatever it wants, but if it does that, it will probably look a lot bullish. I might not even be looking for shorts if that was to happen anyway. But yeah, retracement back into 1820, this area here where we did collapse to the downside, back up to there again. I think some shorts will look quite nice from there, because we do have that support as well, 1768. But yeah, it depends what gold wants to break out to. If it breaks to the downside, we might just see that continuation altogether and see some new lows. Silver. So yeah, silver. I haven't looked at silver in a while actually. So it looks like silver is doing the same thing, moving sideways. Again, we had a collapse to the downside last week. So again, I'm expecting more downside for gold and silver really. If you look at the price action there, we've been pushing to the upside, a lot of low momentum candles here. Well, we've had some big bullish candles, but overall, you can see it's very corrective, not a lot of momentum there. Failing to push through, create higher highs. We've made these three significant lower highs with those wicks. So you can see that first wick there. Oh, I can't work this for some reason. No, I can. That first wick there, then we saw that second wick there, creating that lower high, and the third wick lower high just before the drop. So it was giving us an indication that price was running out that bullish steam, and that potentially could fall to the downside. And then as you can see, we did. And now we're kind of consolidating here. So that consolidation is either price getting ready to reverse back up, or it's consolidating in preparation for another move lower. And if we zoom out, potentially could even be both. It's a 50-50 really, because we do have this overall uptrend on the higher time frames. If I go on the weekly, you can see we are trending to the upside, although we're stalling at that resistance. I think we do have a bit of a trend line here for gold. I mean silver, sorry. So yeah, connecting these lows, 1, 2, 3. Maybe can see a test of that trend line. So one will drop lower, see a test of that trend line, then maybe a push up, or even a breakout. But yeah, like I said, don't really trade silver, or don't trade silver actually. But yeah, if silver was to follow gold, which it normally does, then yeah, a break to the upside, then a push back down again is what I can see. But yeah, the clearest setup for me looks like gold, and I think you see push up, push back down, and then some more continuation, but right now not interested. Looks like Euro USD is finding its strength, trying to break for that resistance. And yeah, if it does do that, then those longs back to 1.2 do look good. Take a look. I mean, for silver, I think silver long term, I still do see price moving to the upside. If you're talking about the longer term things, long term view and things, yeah, I do still see that move going a lot higher. But yeah, I think for short term, I do see a move down. But yeah, you're right. I do see eventually this move continuing to the upside. Because again, fundamental reasons and technical reasons, we are pointing to the upside from a long-term point of view. If you look at the daily, weekly, monthly, and I do see the continuation happening, but I think we'll probably move down first before those happen, before those continuations up happen for gold and silver. After these big moves that we had last week, I think we'll still see the bearish momentum coming from those moves. So that's what I'm anticipating this week and maybe even next week as well. But yeah, I think sooner or later we will see gold and silver start rallying aggressively to the upside. But yeah, I'm not going to call that just yet. You need to see a lot more development in price for that. But yeah, I think move to the downside first, and then maybe we can start to see that starting to form. But we need a lot to happen for me to be a lot more confident with that move. The longest I would trade, I would say a week. I think I don't want to be in trade for more more than a week. I have been, to be fair, because previously, a few months ago, I could be in a trade for about 2 or 3 weeks sometimes. It could be a trade for quite long because I was trading the 4 hour chart quite a lot. So for my trades to play out, I did need a lot of time behind it. So it was around 2 or 3 weeks I could be in a trade. But now, because I'm entering a lot on the hourly chart, yeah, I don't really tend to hold them for trade for more than a week, I would say. But on average, it would probably be 2, 3, maybe 4 days. But yeah, a week a little bit, kind of the tops that I would hold in a trade for. But at the end of the day, I kind of stick to my targets quite religiously. So if I set a target, I try and see the trade through and see if we can meet that target. At the end of the day, if that takes 3 days, it takes 3 days. If it takes a week and a day, it takes a week and a day. So obviously I don't set too aggressive targets where it takes like a month to get there. I do take into account, but I kind of just let the trade play and just take how long it wants to. I don't really just say, okay, it's been a week, I have to get out. If it's been a week and still, still got some room, then I'll let that room play out and see what happens. But if it starts to consolidate after maybe a week or 2 or 3 and starts moving against me, then I'll probably exit after that. But yeah, I normally stick to my targets and just wait for them to play out. So the longest trade could be a little bit over a week, I would say. Yeah, I do use fib, not that much, but I do. So normally when I do my trading, I draw my levels, my areas of interest. I normally, after I've done all of that, I'll then see if it does match up with the fib, but normally it does match up anyway. So the areas where I'm looking at normally do match up with the 50% or another Fibonacci level anyway, so I don't pay too much attention because it normally does match up anyway. But yeah, I like to take trades that I have retraced at least 50% of the way. So when it has retraced only 20%, again, I don't look to get involved there, mainly because only because the price will probably eventually retrace that 50% anyway. So I don't really get involved. So I might check, okay, has it retraced 50%? Yes, I can look to get involved. But if it's retraced less than 50, unless it's a really good setup, I'll probably say I'll wait for it to retrace a little bit more. But yeah, I do use the fib to an extent where I want to see at least hit 50, and then I'll look to see if there's an opportunity for me to get involved. No problem, no problem. Happy to help. What time frame do you trade on, Jerris? Do you use the lower time frames? Because if you're more of a day trader, then essentially, well, you wouldn't stay on the trade more than a day, but maybe you might stay for a day or two. Yeah, so that's pretty much the same as me as well. I don't use the monthly too much, but I do use weekly, daily quite a lot. Developing my bias, um, and then yeah, I do drop to low time frames. Not 5 minute though, 15 minute at push. But yeah, hourly is my main time frame to entries and exits. Okay, yeah, so that makes a lot of sense then. So basically just trading the London session, which is good because that means you got the rest of the day to do whatever you want. You know, when the London session is done, you know you're done for the day. So it's good to have that, you know, balance. I'm on the charts, off the charts, on the charts, off the charts, rather than just, you know, staring at the screen, trading every session and every move. So it makes a lot of sense. Okay, guys, I will be looking to end the live stream in about 5 minutes at 12 p.m. So if any of you guys are in any trades currently, or you're looking at any different charts and you've got your eyes on some potential setups, or you just want an opinion on anything, drop it in the live chat, and I'll make sure I'll give you some analysis or my opinion on anything before I go. Yeah, exactly. Don't want to be trading every single day, because not every single day is a trading day. Because again, a lot of my downfall early on was over trading. You know, every single day was a trading day for me. Pretty much almost every single hour was a trading day for me as well. So yeah, that was my big downfall, because again, you win a lot of trades, but then you lose a lot of trades, and overall you weren't really making money, because you know you just took too many losing trades. So yeah, cutting down trades was great. Not looking at it as every single day as a trading day was huge as well. Quality over quantity, definitely. See you soon, David. Thanks for coming to the live stream. Does mean a lot. Thank you for that. No problem, mate. Happy to help. Thank you, Jeris. Thank you, Jeris. That does mean a lot. Welcome to the channel. And thank you, OH Cuts, as well. Thank you for subscribing. Does mean a lot as well. Nice, that's great progress. The month's not even over yet. Okay guys, so it is 12 p.m. I will be looking to end the live stream shortly. But like always guys, I'm going to give a quick rundown on some of the pairs that we looked at, some of the pairs that I'm looking at later this week, or later today anyway, for any potential opportunities. And then we'll look to end the live stream after that. But yeah, so I can start with GPUSD. So again, done quite a lot of breakdowns on this live stream. But then again, if it does play out, this could be a really good move. So yeah, GPUSD, look for some shorts. Again guys, we had that big move to the downside from the daily. We retraced back into that 1.4 level. Not completely, there's still some upside left, so we could have another push up for GPUSD. But if we do hold onto this area here, I do see some nice shorts to the downside, back down to this previous support. And again, if you can break through that, we can go a lot further. So again, that might not happen this week, it might take next week to do it as well. But anyway, if we do start trending to the downside, you can take a part of that move on the retrace. So GPUSD to the downside if we do hold onto this level. Pound JPY as well do look good for some shorts, again for similar reasons to pound USD. We pushed to the upside quite aggressively back into this area of supply here on the daily, and if you do hold onto it, some shorts do look good for GBJPY. Still a little bit too bullish for my liking, so we might still see some upside. But if you do turn bearish here, the risk to reward for GBJPY, if you were to push to the downside or down to those lows or even halfway, still does look very appealing. So downside for GPUSD if you do hold into this, but like I said guys, these pairs are still very bullish, so I want to wait on the sidelines a little bit to see how they develop. Then if you do get the market turn bearish, then we can hit those triggers to the downside. But right now still a little bit too bullish for my liking. ADUSD, we're kind of at we're still bullish here, but we're kind of trading at a very key level of resistance here. If I go on the daily quickly, you can see we had that big drop to the downside last week. Nice area of support, one big push up, support again, push up. Now we broke through last week, Thursday and Friday we broke through. We're retracing to the upside right now. So if this does hold as resistance, so former support now resistance, I do see some continuation to the downside. And again, we'll be aiming for those previous lows down there on the hourly, and probably some new lows as well, probably around 0.74. So I'm looking for the downside for ADUSD, but like I said guys, the pairs that I'm telling you right now are still quite bullish. So it might not even happen today, it might be tomorrow, but do have your eyes open, because I do think some opportunities, whether short term or long term, are coming our way soon. And also USD CAD potential longs as well if you do hold into that area. Right now the market's still looking quite bearish, so I need a bit more development there. But if you do hold onto this, I do see a bigger push to the upside, because you can see we have this nice bowl shape here for USD CAD on the daily. I think we'll see some retracement of that move from last week, and then the continuation up. And if it does play out, we can go a lot further. So those are the pairs that I do have my eyes on. I do have my own Euro JPY as well, but I'm favouring pound JPY a little bit more over this pair. But again, if a nice setup was to form on this pair rather than GBJPY, then I will look to short as well. But again, similar reason, we had a nice break to the downside, breaking through our trend line here in the market with those lows. We are, looks like we're turning bearish. We do have some price support there, which is turning resistance, or we might get a retest of that trend line. But either way, if we do reject that area, I think we can see some continuation lower and see some potential new lows for Euro JPY after that move from last week. So that's what I'll be looking for next week. No, well, potentially into next week, but this week anyway. But yeah, so those are the pairs I'll be looking at for the rest of today / tomorrow / Friday, as you can get a nice opportunity there. But that is the end of the live stream, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed that, found that useful. Like always guys, make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop a like if you found it useful, if you're feeling generous, and check out my Telegram channel as well. If I do see any trades for those pairs that I just mentioned, I will put it on that Telegram channel and let you guys know that we do have an opportunity for those pairs. So make sure you go check that out. Link to that is in the description below. But like I said guys, that's the end of the live stream. Thanks for watching, does mean a lot, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.